Hello there everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and tonight we watched the State of Play, Sony's latest showcase, which has really become a staple of the company in their marketing division. Builds a lot of hype, especially since the whole E3 machine has kind of died down a little. Obviously we're getting the Summer Game Fest soon, but State of Play was here today, and while usually it's a constant battle of anticipation, like how excited should we get, because sometimes they focus on indie titles, third party titles, first party titles and all this kind of thing. This one that was shown today was actually really exciting. A lot of really great looking content that we're getting first looks at, a couple of announcements as well, some that we were expecting. But obviously I'm here today, we're just going to run through some of the details that we got, some of the things that you can be expecting, and just some overall impressions of them. So the whole thing started out with a date. I completely misunderstood this because it showed a picture or like an image of a PlayStation and a date, and I was like, it's PS5 Pro, they've just announced it, what a bunch of absolute mad lads. But no, that's not the case. It was Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now this is really quite exciting because it's really what I've been waiting for. Resident Evil 4 is the one that a lot of people go on about. They say it's a very it's one of the most iconic of the older games, and of course, we've been getting Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 remakes, and those have been like great ways to reintroduce yourself or introduce yourself to the franchise for the first time with a new modern lens. So I'm really excited for this. And 23rd of March 2023 is the release date. It's not too far away considering we're getting it announced now, less than a year away. And we didn't get any like announcement of like what platforms it would be on, but I'm assuming it will be a PS4 and a PS5 title at this stage anyway. But one of the more exciting things and one of the biggest focuses of this whole showcase was PSVR 2, and there is PSVR 2 content in development for Resident Evil 4. Of course, Oculus users have had Resident Evil 4 VR, which is like full motion controls and all of this for the original version of the game. So there is the hope that this could potentially be even better. And then that brought us on to the next batch of VR, Resident Evil Village VR. Man, I've been waiting for this. I nearly made a video on this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really glad that I've actually held off. I didn't play Village purely because I kept expecting that VR port to come along at some point. Resident Evil Biohazard, I played entirely in VR, and it is one of the best VR experiences I've ever had. But this looks like it could be even better because PSVR 2 is obviously going to come with the increased resolution. You're going to get haptic feedback on the thing, new motion controls, and this one actually does have full motion control by the looks of things, rather than the DualShock 4 controls with the last one. So that is really exciting. We sadly didn't actually get a release date for this one just because we don't know when PSVR 2 is coming, but it'll be here at some point. We know I think it's 2023 that we're expecting PSVR 2, so sometime next year, and we'll hopefully have that alongside Resident Evil 4 as well. The next PSVR title was The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. Quite a mouthful there. This is another one that I think is quite underrated. The Saints and Sinners, the original, was like a really well thought out game that was fully developed for VR in terms of the mechanics with like the backpack, having to pull blades out of the skulls of zombies and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, at this point it looks like more of the same, but we're hoping for a little bit of an enhancement of mechanics. We saw a lot of work with lighting, throwing flares, so hopefully that'll be really impressive stuff. Obviously, when you're looking at VR trailers in a flat screen format, they never really look all too impressive graphically. But when you're in, when you have the visor on, you're in that world. It just, it's another layer of immersion that's really hard to sell when you're doing it in this kind of lower resolution, stylized way on flat screen trailers. Next up we had No Man's Sky PSVR 2, so just a better version, a next gen or current gen upgrade for the PSVR, like the PS4 version of the VR port. So that'll be a great one as well. No Man's Sky was actually, I thought, really like a really solid VR port, and I know a lot of people that found that was one of the best ways to play the game. Next up though, man, the best of the bunch, Horizon Call of the Mountain. This game looks phenomenal. It is, talking about graphics not looking too great when when it's VR in a flat screen format. This game just looks good, hands down. I'd be happy with this in a a regular flat screen game, but I cannot wait to see just be fully immersed in this world with those graphics, and the combat looks really solid, something a bit more in depth than I was expecting, a bit more maneuverability. There's obviously a huge focus on the climbing mechanics. We saw them using axes and climbing up ropes and grabbing onto ledges and wrapping ropes around like your little axes as well. There seems to be like a lot of different mechanics at play. It's not just one set thing that we're going to be doing in Horizon Call of the Mountain. There's going to be a lot of stuff here. We've got bow mechanics as well, and you're fighting all of the iconic looking dinosaur robots from the Horizon series. This one is going to be a must buy. This is going to be the system seller for Call of the Mountain. So that is really the peak of what we're getting, what we got from this PSVR 2 showcase. The first look at proper gameplay. Colour me impressed, because this is all looking great. Just as a little addition, we got Horizon Forbidden West New Game Plus announcement, which means you're going to be able to switch the outfit looks. You're going to get end game gear, and that is out now. That is just launched alongside the state of play. Next up, we had the PC port of Spider-Man. Now, this is something that Sony have gradually been working with. We've seen quite a few PlayStation exclusives coming to PC. God of War is one of the examples, and now Spider-Man looks to be the next. This one will be with PC players on August 12th, 2022. Next up then, we had Stray, which is a game a lot of people are really excited about. Personally, for me, it looks pretty good. It looks alright, I suppose, if it was short enough. And the rumoured release dates seem to be true, because this one's coming with us pretty soon on July 19th, 2022. That's going to be on for PS5 and 4. We've got a solid look at some gameplay, which is just showing off that art style, the climbing mechanics a little bit, some physics of knocking over bottles and things like that. But the exciting thing about this actually is that it's going to be included with Premium and Extra, the new tiers for PlayStation Plus. So that's like a really great way to boost the playability of that game, really get a lot more players into it, and a really great inclusion, to be honest, with PS Plus. Obviously, we've heard that Sony first-party titles aren't going to be coming to the service on day one. This isn't like a massive game, but it's one of those really interesting inclusions that a lot of people would be seeing and thinking it looks kind of good, but not picking it up or shelling out the money. But if you're getting it included with your subscription, yeah, sure. Or maybe you're just going to buy a month of it, the service, just to play this game. It's these kind of games that I feel like Game Pass have really thrived with. They've done really well to keep players interested with these smaller games, and Sony could really be onto something here with the inclusion of Stray. But despite all of that, all of this talk of Call of the Mountain or interesting additions to PS Plus, hands down, the best thing to come out of this state of play was our proper first gameplay and cinematic look at the Callisto Protocol, which is from the developers of Strike and Dance and Crafton, the team that made the original Dead Space, and they are not in any way trying to hide the fact that this is just a spiritual successor to Dead Space. Aesthetically, it looks very similar. It's got the gore, it's got the deformed aliens, the suits with the visors and the snow outdoors and all of this kind of stuff. This game looks fantastic, and I genuinely cannot wait to play it. The graphics here are absolutely unreal. It just looks so up my street. I'd like to know if you think the same. If it's maybe a wee bit too much like Dead Space to be, its own thing. I don't think that really matters. I think people will just be happy to see this new kind of game, this proper first part or AAA horror experience, this proper grimy, gory sci-fi. I'm there for it, and you can be there for it on December 2nd in 2022, so it's not even that far away, and that'll be coming to both PS4 and PS5, although I suspect it'll be pushing those PS4s to the limit. Moving on from them, we had Roller Drome, which is like a kind of roller skate shooter type thing with a sort of cel shaded art style. And to start, I gotta say, I almost wrote it off pretty much immediately, and this game just looks quite fun. We're expecting to see this one on August 16th of 2022, so I'd imagine this will be like a really good one. I'd imagine this would be a good one to include with PS Plus, actually, even just as one of the free games. You know, with like some other games like Fall Guys was included when it first started. I think that could be a really good inclusion. Moving on, we had Enter Nights, which is a sort of anime game, a lot of QTEs from the looks of things. These personally aren't really my kind of games, so there's not a lot I could really take away from it, but if you are interested, obviously you'll be seeing the gameplay right now. That'll be coming to you early 2023 on PS4 and PS5. But I suspect that a lot of you will have been here for this one, Street Fighter 6. Again, I'm going to disappoint you here. I've not played the Street Fighter games, but this one does look pretty fun. It's got quite a nice art style between obviously exaggerated bodies, and you've got this ink style art stuff coming up when people are getting beat up and all these kind of things. And I was watching the stream with a friend who is very into Street Fighter, and he was freaking out about the fact that you'll be able to walk around in this sort of story mode. We saw a brief glimpse at a battle hub, so it seems to be elevating it just beyond the, you know, this brawler where you're just picking a fighter, picking a stage and going from there. You know, it's expanding the experience beyond there, and I suspect a lot of people will be really excited for this game despite its really terrible characterless logo. This one will be coming to both PS5 and PS4 in 2023, so no concrete release date as of yet, but I'd imagine this will be a pretty highly anticipated title for next year. Then we went on to a couple of indie titles. We had the official PlayStation 4 and 5 announcement for Tunic, which was on Xbox and PC previously, and that one will be coming to the PlayStation consoles on September 27th. And then next up we had Seasons, A Letter to the Future, which is this really chill looking, cool art style. Seems to be focused around someone recording elements. It's very, I don't know, I got some Firewatch vibes from it. I don't know if that's just me, but this one will be coming to PS4 and 5 around autumn 2022. That's the release date we're getting so far, so not too far away. Then there was the big, you know, the show ender, something a lot of people were likely super excited about. There was a lot of theories about whether this was going to be shown at all, and of course that was Final Fantasy 16. Got a great look at some gameplay, some intense and incredibly cinematic stuff, some crazy looking titans of sorts, and you may be able to tell already, another one added to the list. I have not played Final Fantasy at all, so I don't know what any of this stuff is, but it looks pretty cool. You get some big fiery monsters, some big rock monsters, all of this kind of stuff. And that will be coming to PS5 in summer of 2023. No specific date again, but we do know for sure that it's going to be current gen only. So no PS4 titles here. So that has been the roundup of the show. I definitely think the Callisto Protocol was the most exciting of the bunch. Just looks fantastic. Probably next up after that, Call of the Mountain. Really excited for Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil Village VR is something I'm super excited about as well. So I think a really solid lineup. I think the first half of the showcase was a lot better than the second. I think after the Callisto project it kind of dipped down for me, but that's a personal level just because I haven't played some of the big hitters like Street Fighter or Final Fantasy. But of course, let me know what you think of all of this. Comment down below, let me know your favourites, some of the games maybe you were hoping to see. I gotta say, when Resident Evil 4 was starting and you had the letters with the trees behind, I genuinely thought for a second it might have been Factions 2. Broke my heart once more, Sony. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching as always, and yeah, just let us know what you were thinking of this whole thing. Let's get a discussion going, some of the things that you're most looking forward to out of this entire list. And if you're liking more PlayStation based content just like this, some explainers on the new PS Plus system, anything else PlayStation related and so much more, then remember to leave a like on this video, maybe subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time on Push Square. See you guys.